Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the Fan Cave. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Bob Pompeani here, and you know the drill. Call us at 412-575-2600 and air your opinions about anything in Pittsburgh sports or national, if they're big enough to talk about. I'm here in the studio. Andrew Fillipponi's up at 93.7 The Fan, and tonight the Pirates, game 2 of their series, and it didn't go as well as game 1. They lost tonight in Milwaukee, and as a result of that, they now are 4 games back in the wild card. And, you know, this is still the middle of a 4-game series, Andrew. Skeens goes tomorrow. If I were the Pirates, love to come away with 2 wins over the next 2 days, but Milwaukee's a team that knows how to win, and I think they showed you that tonight.
Yeah, they don't hit any home runs, but they are 5th in baseball in runs scored. They're top 5 in starting pitching ERA. They've got one of the best bullpens in the league. They are a formidable team, and that's how they get to 70 wins faster than the Dodgers in 2026, the team that had Tarek Skubal on the mound for the first time tonight. So I think the Pirates, as far as a night like this is concerned, Bob, what it gets down to is their starting pitching is still not as good as it needs to be and not anywhere close to what we thought it would be this season. When Travis Williams talked about the Pirates making the playoffs, he mentioned before the offseason even started that starting pitching was the strength of this team and foundation of this team. It has been anything but that this year. Braxton Ashcraft has overachieved. Bubba Chandler's had his moments, and Jared Jones has probably been the most dominant pitcher, but none of them consistent enough. And tonight was another example of that. Jared Jones did not pitch well. He competed, he battled, but it wasn't good enough. And that's been a problem and an issue for the Pirates to go along with their bullpen and shaky defense. Their starting pitching is just not delivered the way that they thought it would this season.
Yeah, and that includes Paul Skeens. And, you know, he's known as the ace, Mr. Cy Young from last year, and I still believe he has many good years ahead of him. But, man, he needs to get it together now, and this is the role of a stopper. You need to go. They lost the game tonight. They need him to pitch very well, and they're doing it on national television, although the Brewers have some pretty good pitchers. You're not going to see Mizorowski in this series, but like we saw tonight, Logan Henderson, he was very good. They got a guy tomorrow who's been tremendous, and then I think one of their newcomers are going to pitch on Thursday. So this will not be easy. I think, you know, what the Pirates need to do is take advantage of this coming weekend with the Mets. They have a series with the Marlins, who were sellers, and they, I believe, lost again tonight. Yet they're still ahead of the Pirates. So it's going to be very interesting to see how it goes. The Phillies did win tonight, and as you mentioned, Skubal was on the mound, but the Cubs beat the Dodgers, or at least were leading them late. Let's talk about overall. The one thing the Pirates did not do last night in the trade deadline, Andrew, is get some right-hand hitting. There are also some starters available. Robbie Ray's, I guess, the one that we've been talking about a lot. He's having a really good year, and this, you know, when you factor Keller being out and when you look at Majinski potentially being that next guy up, after that, who's their next starter if there's an injury along the way?
You know, maybe at that point it's Wilbur Dotel or Antoine Kelly or somebody like that. They sold Jose Urquidy to the White Sox, not that he was any good. The few times we've seen Hunter Barco this year, it's been a disaster. And I think they had higher expectations for him. I had somebody tell me before the season started, Bob, that they thought he could be last year's Ashcraft, a guy that pitched out of their bullpen and was very good, and then the next year, or maybe at some point this year, became a full-time starter as a left-handed pitcher. And it just never panned out that way. He got hurt, didn't pitch well when he was healthy. So, yeah, they don't really have much depth. They didn't add to that, which I think is a mistake. I mean, there's still the off chance that teams that are out of contention put guys through waivers and they're able to pick somebody up that way. But, yeah, they really, I think, have very little margin now. And I don't think they went out and got a right-handed hitter because Ozuna is still on this team. And they didn't want to, I think, eat all the money on Ozuna. They're still, I think, hoping they get something from that $12 million investment. They've gotten almost nothing to this point, but maybe they think there's something in there. I don't know, Bob, against left-handed pitching later this year. There's a lefty tomorrow night for the Brewers, Harrison. That probably means Ozuna's in the lineup, and a 15th, 16th, 17th chance, whatever number chance he's on, to prove to the Pirates and to prove to fans that he's not a bust in a horrible contract.
Yeah, if he doesn't play tomorrow, then he's never going to play. Tomorrow would be a day you'd expect him, and finally he needs to do something because it's been very sporadic when he gets in there. I know that's difficult on a guy to get any sort of momentum going, but he'll be in there tomorrow, and it's time for him to step up. When we come back, we're going to open up the phone lines at 412-575-2600. Also talk about there is a new highest paid wide receiver in the NFL when it comes to guaranteed money. Find out who that is and more right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, KDKA+. Welcome back. Here is our Xfinity tweet of the night, and this is the most guaranteed money for a wide receiver all time. A little surprised by this. Zay Flowers jumps all the way up to $108 million guaranteed, part of a 4-year extension he got today from Baltimore. That's $20 million more than Justin Jefferson. Jamar Chase is well behind. Go right down the list. And, Andrew, I know this changes every time there's a new contract. There's a new number one, whoever gets it, and it may not last more than a day. But Zay Flowers is a really good receiver. I just don't look at him the same way as I do Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb or Jamar Chase or any of those guys. Do you?
Yeah. No, I don't. The guy's had huge drops and big misplays, fumbles in playoff games against the Steelers. He's made big plays too, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, I don't see him as, a guy that is on the short list of 5, 6, 7 wide receivers who you think are going to compete to be first-team All-Pro in the number one wide receiver in the NFL every year. He's at least a tier down, maybe 2 tiers down. But what he is Baltimore's number one wide receiver. Mark Andrews was a tight end who used to, I think, have that honor, the guy that was the go-to pass receiving target for Lamar Jackson. He's not anymore. He also had that big drop against the Bills in the playoffs a couple years ago. But, the Ravens, I do think, if you look at Lamar Jackson, last year was so injury-riddled. I'm not a big fan of him in big games, but it's undeniable. 2 years ago, he was the NFL MVP. When he was healthy the first 4 weeks of the season last year, he was the most productive quarterback in the league. So I do think with new coaches there, Jesse Minter is a great defensive mind. I mean, he did wonders with that Chargers defense. I think Baltimore's got a shot to bounce back in a big way this year in the regular season. I'm not saying playoffs, but I think they could win the AFC and be the number one seed in the regular season. I really believe that. Based on their strength of schedule too, Bob, because they didn't win the division last year.
Yeah, and a lot of people expect them to go over 10.5 wins and be that team. And, Lamar Jackson's biggest thing is getting to the postseason and producing. He has not done that as an elite quarterback and a 2-time MVP. Our Penn West University, KDK.com/connect poll of the night is interesting because last night very optimistic people were voting for Ben Cherington, has done a great job at the trade deadline. Now the question is, will the Pirates make up enough ground to make the postseason? 73% of the people say no. Only 26%, I think, have said yes. Let's get to the phone lines, Andrew. A lot of people want to talk, beginning with Chris in Penn Hills. Hey, Chris, what's up?
Hey, Bobby, Andrew. I'd like to know what's going on with Jalen Ramsey, and his contract's pretty high. I'd like to know what's going on with him.
Hasn't done anything yet. He and Joey Porter Jr. are sort of just taking drills on the side, Andrew. I think that's more just being a veteran, precautionary with him. I don't think he's in any jeopardy of missing any time at the start of the season. Do you?
Not yet. I mean, I think Porter Jr., his job is pretty straightforward. Okay, I understand there's zone coverage and there are things learned there, but for the most part, when you're a corner, there's a guy lined up across from you. You defend that guy. And Jalen Ramsey did that for a lot of his career, and he was great at it. I mean, we saw him early in his career what he was able to do against Antonio Brown, and few corners were able to do that. But the idea, according to Mike McCarthy, with Ramsey was to make him Charles Woodson when he transitioned from corner to safety, and to use him in a lot of different places. And I do wonder if this hampers that at all. It's one thing to get mental reps. It's another thing to go out there and actually get to know the defense during the install period and get the physical reps too. So I do think this puts him behind the 8 ball a little bit with that, and it might lessen the opportunity for them to move him like that queen on a chessboard, which was Mike Tomlin's idea last year. But then injuries happened like Deshaun Elliott, and he had to play safety full-time, Bob.
Yeah, he did, and it will be interesting to see not just him, but Joey Porter Jr. just hanging around waiting for a contract to be signed. I still think it will eventually get done, but it's going to probably go right down to the very end. And I'm just curious, as we see all these different contracts come around, and Joey Porter Jr. has been waiting there for a while. If the Steelers had acted a little earlier, they may have gotten a better deal. They're going to probably have to go into an area they may not have wanted to go to, which is in the $30 million a year range.
Well, when Denzel Ward gets that kind of money, you're right. That is a concern here. The longer you wait, are Christian Gonzalez and Devin Witherspoon going to reset the market to a degree where Joey Porter Jr. is not going to get paid like that, but he's going to want to be close or closer? So that's kind of the sticky situation. We know the Steelers' long-time policy of not negotiating in season. There's no evidence that that's changed, even though Mike McCarthy's here now instead of Mike Tomlin. So there is that deadline that looms, and that's still a ways away. We haven't even played a preseason game, but that could sneak up on you. And I'd also want Joey Porter Jr., unlike, say, a T.J. Watt, to have some practice and training camp time and to do some real preparation before the season starts, because unlike Watt, who did nothing and then signed the week of a game and played and was great against the Bills, Joey Porter Jr. is really good, but he's not on that level yet. He's not that kind of elite player yet, in my opinion. So I'd like to see him get some legitimate training camp practices in before he starts the season.
North Hills is where we're going next. We got Bob joining us here on the Sports Call. Hello, Bob.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're good. What's up?
I wanted to say something about them umpires. I mean, obviously, you've seen what happened tonight with Don Kelly getting kicked out of the game or whatever. About that
balk.
That pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, or no, that pitch.
Right.
Then they know and see that they messed up, but the point is, I'm getting at is the head coaches they get thrown out. They get.
Well, I do think,
fined.
Bob. Thanks for the call. I think they got to have thicker skin. These umpires don't take much, and and especially that guy tonight. It seems like he's very quick at pulling a trigger there. I think sometimes you just got to engage guys. They come out, they want to know what it is, they get heated, so be it. Unless they do something completely off the rails, I don't think you should eject them that quickly. I was surprised he got heaved-ho that fast, Andrew.
Yeah.
He didn't really say anything,
I agree.
too,
I mean, I think Donnie's got a reputation now where he's got a short fuse, and umpires have their antenna up because he's been thrown out of games more than anybody else. We saw it Sunday, too, with the rain situation in Cincinnati. I'm not expecting or I'm not asking for Don Kelly to be Billy Martin and, bench a guy in the middle of a game or embarrass someone. But I just wish sometimes the same fire and brimstone that he shows with umpires, I wish we saw that more in regards to his players when his team fails, the frustrations and disappointments with that, because we don't ever hear that in a press conference after a game. We don't often hear him get that way when talking about the struggles of his team. And I just feel like he would actually win over fans if there was more accountability when it came to, say, his players screwing up the way that he reacts when umpires do.
Yeah. You want to see a Jim Leland, throw over some food in the dugout in his office, get involved, come out with that kind of stuff. We haven't seen that yet. Maybe he's like that behind closed doors. We haven't seen it publicly. Rick in Chippewa is up next. Hey, Rick, what's up?
Gentlemen, you guys do a fantastic job. We got to figure out a way to extend the show. Why do we take so many called third strikes? And can you guys look up a stat on that? I think that's ridiculous. And another thing is tell Kelly to watch this show. And they'd possibly have 10-plus wins if he would get educated to what's really going on rather than what's he get out of arguing and getting thrown out. Tell me.
Well, other than he sticks up for his players, I understand that's all part of it. With regard to taking third strikes, I think a guy like Valdez now is, he's been good about plate awareness, Andrew, but, lately he hasn't had a lot. I think they're adjusted to him. They're giving him a lot of stuff that's right at the edge of the zone. It's not fastball. I think he's a little confused at this point. I saw that again tonight. He struck out looking in his last at bat, and it was, a pitch that is right on the edge of the strike zone. So I don't know if he's going through a little bit of just, what it is to be a rookie, and now he's going to have to re-examine everything and try to come back and do what the pitchers have done to him and counter that.
Yeah, a lot of walks and strikeouts, a lot of swing and misses, or he's showing good plate discipline and recognizing that pitchers are pitching him more carefully and pitching around him. But I do think there might be some frustration that can seep in there because you want to do damage and maybe pitchers aren't giving you the same straightforward attack you approach that they did before he burst onto the scene and hit all those home runs and drove in all those runs. There was a period of time in which the Pirates, I believe, led baseball in strikeouts with runners in scoring position. Now, they've scored the second most runs in the entire league, so it's really hard to argue their offensive approach when literally only the Nationals have scored more runs than them, and they've scored more runs than teams like the Dodgers and Yankees. But I know strikeouts with runners in scoring position had been a problem for this team, and we know hitting off lefties has been a problem all year, and they're going to see one tomorrow. And that's why they're an underdog even with Paul Skeens on the mound, Bob, because they're facing a good team and a left-hander, and that's usually a recipe for failure for the Pirates.
That's why Skeens has to go out and put up one of his better outings of the year, and we haven't seen that. I'm going to be very curious watching the velocity tomorrow night. We're due for a break. We'll take it right now. 412-575-2600. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. All right, before we go, let's go back to the lines. We got Jack in Beachview joining us right now. Go ahead, Jack.
Hey, Bob.
Go right ahead.
Hello?
Jack, go ahead. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can
All right.
you hear me, Bob?
Yeah, make it quick, please.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to say that I think that Ozuna should go check out Tommy Pham's optometrist, and maybe you could straighten him out for the season.
That seemed to work for Tommy Pham. Yeah, it did, Jack. I don't know what his problem is. Andrew, it's been the same all year. Yeah, he has 8 home runs, but he got the majority of those early ever since. He's just not been very good. And I saw that you are in favor of bringing back Andrew McCutchen, even though he doesn't have a job. He got waived again. Do you believe that would actually happen? Because I don't.
No, I don't think so either, but I would offer him a minor league deal, send him to Indy. If he hits left-handed pitching there, consider him a replacement to Ozuna. But I don't know. I don't think he'd do that, and I don't think the Pirates want to do that, but I would give him at least a shot because what they're getting right now with Marcell Ozuna is just unacceptable.
Yeah, it really is, and they need something on. They're going to face a lot of left-handers coming up over the next 3 weeks. Not a lot, but more than you would expect, and those kind of games are going to be very important, and tomorrow is very important for Paul Skeens to give it off the schneid. Andrew, thanks again. Appreciate it as always, and we'll see you later on this week. Good night. Thank you guys for joining us. Stick around. We have all the latest coming up on KDK Sports at 11:25. That's right after Mary Hours delivers you the weather on KDKA-TV. Thanks for joining us. We'll do it again tomorrow night, 10:35 on KDK+. Good night.